Good morning. My name is Carol Rosen. In 1974, after being a sixth grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun, in the U.S. the father of rocketry. He said to me, Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space. And we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build the space-based weapon system. The first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat.
You need a global problem through which you can offer a global solution. That's what you want, global problems. You don't want just a problem in Utah or something, which someone in Utah can sort out. That you can manipulate Utah.
Hence global warming or terrorism.
I mean, this is what I'm going on to say. You're looking at a global war on terror. You are looking at a problem of a global warming, of a global climate change, of course all made up.
Global poverty.
Trying to sell. And we're looking at, what else are we looking at? A global economic crisis. All these things have, all these problems, Alex, of course have global in front of them because a global problem requires, in the way they're selling it to us, a global solution. Now, what greater global problem can you have? Indeed, as you say, Reagan alluded to it, and others have too, than a global threat to the Earth from a non-human race. And you know, we have the kind of research already in place, as you talked about with Project Bluebeam, which actually talks about using things like a fake alien attack to centralize power. Because what would you do in that situation? What do they do in places like Britain when they go to war? They have a war cabinet. They have a few people, not the whole government anymore, a few people around a little table who are making all the decisions. And what they would suggest, if they could sell this alien threat to the people, is they'd want a global equivalent of a war cabinet controlling all the armed forces to meet the threat. They would have them take a gigantic leap to exactly what they want, and this is almost certainly what we're looking at here. And the speed with which, I mean, I've been tracking this for a while now, a few years, but the speed with which that they're now introducing alien threat or UFOs are real kind of stories into the media suggests that we're not a million miles away from some kind of fake disclosure. And one thing that we should also remember, Alex, this is another thing that I've come across many times over the years, is just because we see a craft that looks like what people call a flying saucer or whatever, doesn't mean it's flown by non-human entities. You know, it's anti-gravity technology, and of course, as we well know, the technology across the great spectrum of possibility that they have in the underground bases and the secret projects is light years again ahead of what we see in the public arena. And therefore, when we see this technology, or people see this technology flying around, because it is so apparently in advance of what we see, we think it must be aliens.
Well, I mean, the sky's the limit. Look at the technology they admit they have, and then remember that the B-2 bomber was around for 20 years before they admitted it was, you know, in action. They still say the SR-71 Blackbird, in service in the mid-50s, is the fastest plane we've got. I mean, there's no doubt that and then they admit they have giant hologram projectors, and clearly they're really hyping. I mean, if you had to dead reckon when they're going to do this fake alien stuff, I mean, it could be this year, next year, it could be any time.
It could be any time. And you know, the thing is that another aspect of this is that this very reality, what we call the physical world, is actually holographic.
I really think the most important thing about all of this, there's people writing half the Bible on my blog. There are people arguing about the Federation of Light and where does God come into all of this, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, I really think that we need to forget about the wars and the fighting about God, and let's concentrate on the word love.
And you use, as they do, of course, the technique of what I call problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, get the reaction, do something, and then offer the solution. Then if you have a global agenda for global control, then what you need to, in the end...
Is Osama bin Laden with green skin?